What's going on, everyone? Gilman back with another video with our daily Apple update. I'm going to take a look at Apple's price action for today, the market's price action for today, and then what the future for Apple could look like. So real quick, if you haven't yet, go down below, like and subscribe. It really helps us, and comment down below if you are currently in Apple or what you think the future for Apple could look like as well. So wasting no time, let me hit the one-day chart and let's get right into it. So, we kind of saw it gapping down just a little bit, opening at in the 105s level, but quickly going up from there, and then trying to hit the VWAP, but staying strong and throughout the most of the day, right, until about the last hour or so. It was above the VWAP, which is great because it was doing really well. It wasn't even, it wasn't zigzagging through it. It was constantly over it. And then we sort of broke VWAP, and then we went down and got this like pretty steep drop, but then it rallied back up and then closed under the VWAP. Just taking a look at Dow. So we did end the day up about 48 points, but what we see here is kind of that same drop we saw in Apple taking place here, and then same thing with S&P. We did end green on S&P, but we saw this drop and then increase again. So nothing out of the ordinary for Apple. I actually think Apple's chart looks pretty good today. Green day, which is obviously good always. That being said, though, we went down to the 105 levels. I kind of wish we had tested this 103 level that we had today and then come up from there, because I think testing it again but rejecting it and bouncing off of it would have been I think it would have been a strong indicator, but nonetheless, we came up pretty well today, which was great. Now, one thing that I do want to share is I always put up these indicators, and throughout the course of the day, I noticed that. Let me zoom in real quick. Go to today's chart. We see here. Take a look at this 55 EMA line, which was right at 109.22. So keep the 109.22 number in mind. The reason I say that is now we're going to go to the 1 day, 1 minute. Let me go and take this away. And so this is the chart for the entire day, right? So 109.22 is the sort of number I mentioned. Let's draw a horizontal line around here. So I said 22, I believe, right? So that's close enough. But one thing that I want to point out is, the reason that these indicators can be really important is because when it rallied, right, it came up to this point, right? Let me zoom in just a little bit, right? It came up to this point, got rejected, went down, hit this point, went to VWAP, came up, right? It finally broke this line, and then what we have to understand is when we break resistance, it typically becomes our support, right? So resistance is something that you're trying to break above, right? So when we were below that 109.22 level, this EMA 55 that I'm talking about acts as a resistance, but the moment we break through it, now it acts as support, right? So before it could reject it, and now it can bounce off of that as support. Now, what we see for a lot of the day, right, is we're not being able to break through, not being able to break through, not being able to break through, breaking through, and then coming back, but bouncing off of it, bouncing off of it, bouncing off of it, and then whatever happened with the rest of the day, right? Broke through it, then it was resistance, right? Then it was support. Look at these bounces. I'm not just, this isn't a line that I could have just made up. I showed you where I got it from, right? Not saying it happens perfectly, right? Like here it went through, but then bounced off of it perfectly. Here it didn't quite make it down. Here it made it down. Here the bounce was around that level. And there's several indicators you could use, right? You could use the simple moving average line. You could use the EMAs, whatever it is, but it's really good to kind of use those indicators, right? And then the last hour or so of the day, wasn't great because the whole market as a whole kind of fell, right? But indicators like that could be really good to see, because maybe you are someone who is in Apple, and maybe you bought in Apple a little while ago. I'm talking maybe like a month ago. So you bought higher than where Apple is now. And I mean, there's two ways you could go about it, right? You can either dollar cost average, which is buying more shares at the current price. So let's say you bought one at 130, now you buy one at 110. Now you don't need Apple to move up to 130 anymore. Now you need Apple to move up to 120, and then you start becoming profitable. But you also kind of want to do that at the right level, right? So let's say you want to buy Apple when you have a clear indication of when it's going up. And in today's market, it's kind of hard to do that, but let's just pretend like, you can do that, right? Being able to know, okay, we have a resistance point coming up, let's see if it breaks it. It could be a key factor in whether or not you should buy at a given point, because if it goes up and you're like, oh wow, this is going up, and then you buy it and then we get rejected and come right back down, well, you're kind of in the same shoes you were before, where, I mean, you bought lower than you bought last time, but now we're going lower than, your second buy. So that's something to be really careful of. You could do yesterday, if you watch yesterday's videos, I did the two trend lines that Apple was sort of trading in. They were kind of downward sloping, right? Which is also an interesting point to see, because if you want to do like short-term plays, you want to day trade Apple, those could be a good indicator of, okay, here's where I think it's going to bounce. If it does bounce, then I think it's going to go a little bit higher, or I think this is the max that Apple's going to reach today, and then it's going to go downward. Whatever it may be, that can be really helpful for you. But yeah, overall, not a bad day for Apple. I was really excited. It was above the VWAP for most of the day. It was up decently. Still ended the day up 1%, which isn't bad for a company like Apple. But it wasn't like too, crazy exciting because of kind of that last hour. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop us a like, subscribe down below, comment if you're an Apple, what your thoughts on Apple are, or if you want to see something else from us. I'll see you guys tomorrow with Friday's Apple update. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.